Quack-a-doodle-doo, what is up, fellow birds of the spiral? It's your friend and pal Fearsome here with a guide on this guy right over here, Old Scratch. Say hi, Old Scratch. Yep, this guy. The best troll companion in the entire game, quite possibly one of the most useful and annoying PvE companions and PvP companions as well. So I don't think anyone beats this guy as far as any of those type of things go. He is definitely the very definition of broken, and I will be explaining exactly why, and I will be showing you guys a very nice setup for him as well, particularly as a counter Witch Doctor companion. Now, the irony is, the excuse for adding this companion, or I should say improving this companion and making him viable in the first place and giving him the broken powers, was to help buff Witch Doctors. But it has actually been a huge nerf to Witch Doctors and a great counter to Witch Doctors. Which, Witch Doctors already weren't particularly powerful, so I don't know why they did that in the first place. As for the troll abilities, guys, here they are. You have this ability right here, Do Mojo, which basically targets everyone on both teams. It can literally not put a scratch, no pun intended, or completely one-shot companions on the board. So, you could port into someone's battle. You could join their battle, if you happen to be questing or, farming something random and you see someone, and you could really mess with them. So if you happen to be a toxic player that likes to ruin people's experiences in the game, this is a great ability. Otherwise, it's completely useless. So, great companion if you are a toxic player. It's really awesome, honestly. I happen not to be very toxic myself, but it exists for those of you who are toxic. Great ability to use. All right, and then you have this ability right here. Yes, it has some great applications in PvP, but in PvE, it's pretty much only useful for purging off your allies' buffs, right? So completely useless except for that. It's absolutely hilarious to use. So if you're a toxic player, also a great power, and also one reason why you want to put Scratch on your team. That being said, it's great because for PvP, because if some Buccaneer charges you, or if a Swashbuckler, hide wears off, then you can basically purge his forward off and kill him, right? A lot of people underestimate this power, and it's great to use for that reason. Both in PvE and in PvP. So PvE, it's only useful for trolling, or I should say PvE, it's only useful for trolling, but in PvP, it's quite good. All right, so now we've established this guy is quite possibly the best troll companion in the entire game. Let's go ahead and talk about what really defines him. So these scratch buffs right here, Flow Mojo Flow, Moflojo Flow, and Mojo Flow, all basically give a Mojo buff of 100%, 50%, and 25% respectively for 3 turns, 5 turns, and 10 turns respectively. And they give that buff to anyone who is will-powered, for example, Gracie Coonrad, Dr. Na, and companions like that. And also, if I am a musketeer, I could equip a wand. Or, if I'm a witch doctor and I have a wand, or a privateer with a wand, or anyone with a wand for that matter, I would take this Mojo buff. Fantastic, right? That's great for farming and all, right? Like, I can literally one-shot pretty much any boss in this game first turn, right? Or close to. Using this if I have a group of 4 in particular. Well, that makes things quite broken for PvP, because think about it. If you happen to get, first turn, you could literally one-shot your opponent or a group of companions on your opponent's team. That means you could one-shot the opponent's Old Scratch. And the thing about it is that when Old Scratch is allowed, that it basically means that everyone kind of has to use them if they want to have any type of chance of winning. That being said, even if Scratch was not a factor on the other person's team, killing a couple of groups of units within the first 2-3 turns of the game, or even the first turn of the game, that pretty much determines who wins the match. I mean, honestly, it's a bit like a coin flip. Do you enjoy flipping a coin? I don't know very many people who do. I don't know how many people would love to put themselves through a long and tedious match just to know that they've already lost the first turn of the game. That's kind of pointless, So this guy's banned in most PvP matches in the Spar Chamber. He's still allowed in ranked PvP. It's less broken in 1v1, but it still is quite broken. There's a video, and I'll link it down below in the description. My good friend of mine called Devin Xavier, I guess I call him like a good friend but associate, but he plays this game, and he made a video of a musketeer basically getting bombed twice by a privateer and dying. His pirate and his entire team just died because of the scratch buff. So I'm like, this guy isn't Witch Doctor. It's a privateer, right? Privateers are getting the biggest buff because of Old Scratch. This was supposed to buff Witch Doctors, right? Not only that, is even when Witch Doctors use it, it makes them way more powerful than they should be, and it makes it so that they depend on getting first turn. That's not a meta we really like to see, those of us who PvP. Now, it's great for PvE because you can one-shot everything, right? But this should be a PvE power only. It should not be something allowed in PvP, okay? None of these buffs should be. Alright, now I could go off on a whole tangent about high rolls, low rolls, criticals, and, you know, stuff that honestly is very rage-inducing in this current meta. But I'm going to save that for another video. Needless to say that all these buffs are completely broken, in Team PvP especially. They're great for, you know, PvE. I think you should leave them in the game just for PvE, but, you know, don't allow them in PvP, okay? That being said, you know what these powers do, and you know why they're powerful. Alright, so some of the other features that define this guy is this ability right here, Jubu's Kiss. So you can use this versus a group of units to help him get his health back. So what it does is it takes basically 332 damage in Mojo power, and it gives 50% of that to Old Scratch. Of course, while damaging the opposing team for that amount, that group of units basically. So it has a range of 4, just like Old Scratch. So it's based on his range. And then he has this Cadaver's Chanty. Now, this is an interesting minion. It literally has the movement of El Toro. So it has 5.5 movement. But it also has the range of Emmett or Eggster with basically 4 range. So that's quite interesting. Something about this guy is that all minions, they move towards like the left side or right side of the map. They all have this one spot that they move towards, and you know, if a dead pirate is on the map, they'll stick around a dead pirate for some reason, you know. Also, they do tend to attack the person with the lowest health more often than not. So those are some things about summons in this game that you may want to know. That being said, he's great for like I guess you call them chafe. If you're familiar with you know, like dogfighting and stuff like that, there's like stuff you can do to like misguide you know, like rockets and stuff. Like if you're like flying an airplane and you're like dogfighting. So I would consider this chafe. So basically it misguides summons. So it's great for that. Yeah, it's great for that, and it also does a pretty decent amount of damage. Now, if you use the Scratch buff, this guy is an even higher level. So I recommend giving this Old Scratch your max Mojo you possibly can, and summoning this guy right here, because he's quite powerful when you do. Does more damage, has more health, has more accuracy, has better stats in general when you boost this guy with Mojo. Alright, now one other thing that defines Old Scratch is he has improved Mojo Blast. That's like the first thing he gets as a companion. Lastly, he has 4.5 movement, and he has 4 range. So that's Old Scratch in a nutshell as he comes. Of course, that's with his final promotion. Now, let's go ahead and talk about some potential setups. Now, I've tested several setups, and this is the most effective one in most situations. So, giving a Witchunter 3 basically gives him attack that attacks before a spell is cast. It gives him basically a Valor Fortress against all spells in the game and all Witch Doctor epics. Okay? Which is great. But what But the other thing that it does is when you give him rank 3, it also increases his magic resist. Now, I'm not exactly sure by how much, but based off of my testing, it seems to effectively decrease the amount of damage that a Witch Doctor can do versus him. So one thing is certain, it is definitely worthwhile. The second thing you want to give him is Mojo Echo 2, which basically gives him 3 more hits that are actually more powerful than his original base hit, unless your original base hit, obviously, criticals or high rolls. This is, of course, based off of my testing. I tested all these epics out 20 times each and saw what they were basically based off of. So this is obviously based off of Mojo. I've tested it with and without just to confirm that. And of course, if you pop a Mojo buff, then this Witchunter does do more. So if you pop this right here, Flow Mojo Flow, it will make this twice as powerful. Yes, that's how I tested it. It has no effect on the Mojo Echoes or Intuitions or any of the other powers that a Witch Doctor can get. Any of the other epics, I should say. So that's how I know. And of course, Intuition too. So this is quite interesting because in most cases, Witchunter will actually go before anything else as far as, when an opponent casts a spell, and then of course your Intuition will trigger afterwards, right? Well, here's the funny thing, okay? When a Witchunter is triggered against someone, then the Intuition, I should say, not initiation, will trigger in response before the Witchunter, which is quite nice because you get a little bit extra damage with your Intuition. And what's great is that when you have your Intuition and your Witchunter working together, you are more likely to trigger all of your Mojo chains. So, needless to say, if you get all of your Mojo Echo chains and you get these two guys right here just when a Witch Doctor casts a spell, it really does do a lot of damage. In fact, if you're super lucky, I have had it literally one-shot a Witch Doctor in the first turn. Of course, that was with the Mojo buff on, but still, quite powerful. Quite powerful indeed. So yeah, that's one setup right there. Now, another setup, if you don't want the Witch Doctor to run away, would be to give it Coward's Bane. Now, I haven't found this to be particularly useful, and that's the main reason why is because it's not Old Scratch against the Witch Doctor soloing. It's Old Scratch plus your entire team. And you can add double factors in to make it not worth it for a Witch Doctor to run away from you in the first place, particularly if you're a Buccaneer or a Musketeer, Privateer. Most classes in general, it's not to the Witch Doctor's advantage to run away. Maybe in the case of Swashbuckler, potentially. But I think that may be the only exception. Maybe, a Witch Doctor using Old Scratch versus, another Witch Doctor. I don't know. I would have to do more tests to confirm that. You all may want to try out Coward's Bane instead of Intuition, but Intuition, from what my tests have concluded with Musketeer and Buccaneer, Intuition seems to be the superior epic. So those are some potential setups you can have for your Old Scratch. And that's really what I recommend. It makes him a filthy counter Witch Doctor companion. I don't know why they decided to add this guy to help buff Witch Doctors, but he's done quite the reverse, and he's also made things quite annoying for people who are questing through the game or trying to farm something. So yeah, when I was first recording this video, I got all excited and forgot to mention the talents, so I'll do that here. You want to go with Mojo rank 4, Accurate rank 4, Tough rank 4, Rough rank 4, and the extra point into Dodgy. So, he's one of the few companions you actually want to put rank 4 Mojo on. It's mostly for his summons and his drain and the fact that he's mostly used for his Witch Hunters. And it makes the Witch Hunters themselves do, 20% more damage, which is quite powerful. I hope you can understand that. So that's what I have to say about Old Scratch, guys. Very, very good companion for countering Witch Doctors. Great for trolling. Great for one-shotting people with bombs. He's just absolutely broken. and that's Old Scratch. At any rate, it's been your friend and pal Fearsome here with yet another Pirate 101 video because goodness knows I love this game. If you like what you see and you want to support it, I highly recommend checking out the Quack Club. You can go ahead and join right here on my YouTube channel, and you can get yourself some awesome perks like some emojis, some emotes, and some badges, as well as priority morph and some PvP matches along with a little bit of PvP coaching. So if you're interested, go ahead and check out the perks. You can just click the join button and you can view all those from there. Thank you so much for the view, and peace out for now.